What's the most lethal bullet ever used in America? Most people guess the biggest, maybe a .45, a .308, or something military issued. But the real answer is smaller than you think and way more common than you'd ever imagine. In today's video, we're diving into the shocking statistics, forensic evidence, and real-world shooting data to uncover the most lethal bullet in America. And in a few minutes, you'll see why. Its reputation isn't about power at all, but about something far more unexpected. Let's begin. Most ammo debates start with gelatin blocks and end with YouTube arguments. But if you really want to understand bullet lethality, you have to look at what happens after someone pulls the trigger in real life, not in a lab. The FBI has reviewed thousands of officer-involved shootings. These are real events, not simulations with agents using calibers from .38 Special to .45 ACP. The result? No significant difference in one-shot stop percentages between 9mm, 40 S&W, and .45 ACP. Shot placement and penetration mattered far more than caliber. The NYPD's 10-year review of 200 shootings showed the same pattern. The round used did not affect the outcome. A .45 didn't stop attackers faster than a 9mm, and a .40 didn't outperform either. Dr. Andreas Grabaniski, a trauma surgeon, found that 80% of gunshot attackers stopped not because of injury, but because they mentally chose to. These psychological stops happened regardless of caliber. The other 20%, only central nervous system hits or massive blood loss stopped them, both requiring precise placement. Greg Ellerfritz analyzed 1,800 real shootings and found similar results, with one surprise. The .22 long rifle had one of the highest one-shot stop rates, even better than .45 ACP. But when it failed hard. That makes it risky and inconsistent for defense. Still, it keeps showing up again and again in lethal encounters. Sometimes the deadliest round is not the most powerful, but simply the one that was there. Let's look at why. When it comes to stopping power, most shooters focus on the wrong things. They'll argue over calibers, recoil, grain weight, or feet per second. But none of that means much if the bullet can't do three basic things: penetrate, expand, and hit what it's supposed to hit. Everything else is just noise. Let's start with penetration depth, easily the most important factor in terminal ballistics. The FBI doesn't guess here. Their standard is simple and backed by thousands of cases. A defensive bullet must reach between 12 to 18 inches in calibrated ballistic gelatin. Why? Because human bodies are unpredictable. A shot might hit an arm before reaching the torso. It might come in at an angle. It might have to pass through layers of muscle, fat, or even barriers like clothing or drywall. If it can't punch deep enough to reach something vital, it's a wasted hit. Next is expansion. Not the kind that looks cool in ads, but the kind that actually performs under pressure. A good hollow point expands on contact, increasing the diameter of the wound channel and maximizing tissue disruption. But the key word here is consistent. Plenty of budget rounds expand perfectly in clean gel, but fail when shot through 4 layers of denim. That fabric can clog the cavity, stopping expansion completely. When that happens, the round acts like a full metal jacket and simply pokes a narrow hole. Then comes weight retention. After impact, a good bullet should keep as much of its mass as possible. Fragmenting rounds might look impressive in slow motion, but they often fail to reach the minimum depth. Defensive loads that keep 85 to 100% of their original weight tend to perform best, slicing through barriers, staying on course, and delivering predictable damage. But here's the part everyone overlooks: controllability and shot placement. None of this matters if you can't land a shot under stress. In real defensive scenarios, accuracy drops fast. You're moving, they're moving, your heart's pounding, lighting is bad, your hands are shaky. Under pressure, even police officers, trained professionals, only hit their targets about 20% of the time. That means 80% of shots completely miss. So, the caliber that you can control better, that's probably the one you'll survive with. And don't forget capacity. A Glock 17 in 9mm gives you 17 plus 1 rounds. That same sized pistol in 45 ACP, usually around 10. That's a big difference when your adrenaline's up and accuracy is crashing. Finally, there's reliability. None of this matters if your gun chokes. Some hollow points don't feed well in certain firearms. Some loads misfire more in rimfire than centerfire. Before trusting any ammo with your life, it needs to run 500 flawless rounds through your carry gun. Not 50, not one box, 500. Put simply, the best caliber in the world won't save you if the round doesn't penetrate, if it doesn't expand, or if you miss. And this is exactly why certain small rounds, even those with low energy, end up becoming far more lethal than anyone expects. But knowing what matters is only half the story. The real shock comes when we compare how each major caliber performs in the real world and which ones fail the test. "9mm Luger. Higher capacity and lighter recoil give 9mm a serious edge under pressure. Most service-sized pistols chambered in 9mm carry between 15 to 20 rounds, allowing more follow-up chances when accuracy drops. That controllability also means faster second shots, better placement, and tighter groupings, all crucial in real fights. With modern defensive loads, 9mm performs exceptionally well in FBI gel tests, easily reaching the 12 to 18-inch penetration window with reliable expansion. It's also the cheapest centerfire caliber to train with, which matters more than most people admit. On the downside, its smaller diameter doesn't do as much damage per shot as larger rounds, especially if you're running low-pressure or bargain ammo. And while the performance gap has closed, 9mm still carries a stigma from old-school shooters who believe size is everything. What the .45 brings is size, in both bullet diameter and historical reputation. The larger wound channel creates more damage per hit, and it's naturally subsonic, making it ideal for suppressed shooting. It's a favorite among those who prefer a slower, pushing recoil instead of a snappy impulse of smaller rounds. You don't need plus P loads to make it effective. Standard pressure does the job, but you pay for that size in other ways. Most .45 pistols carry only 8 to 10 rounds. Recoil slows down follow-up shots, especially for newer shooters. And full-sized .45 handguns tend to be heavier, bulkier, and harder to conceal. Add in the higher price per round, and you've got a caliber that performs well but demands more from the shooter. 40 S&W, originally created as a middle ground between 9mm and .45 ACP, the 40 was the standard for law enforcement for years. It delivers more energy than 9mm and maintains strong penetration through intermediate barriers. In many cases, it performs better than both 9mm and .45 when shot through auto glass or plywood. But its recoil is sharp and unforgiving, something that surprises new shooters. It wears out guns faster due to high caliber pressures, and fewer agencies support it today. As a result, manufacturers are pulling back. Ammo is getting harder to find, and the cost sits awkwardly higher than 9mm without offering much in extra day-to-day defensive use. 10mm auto. 10mm is a beast. With proper loads, it offers deep penetration and devastating expansion, even from shorter barrels. It's one of the few auto calibers capable of taking down both human threats and dangerous animals. In suppressed setups with heavy bullets, it performs remarkably well. It also gives you energy levels comparable to Magnum revolver rounds, but in a semi-auto format. The downside? Recoil is punishing. Most compact 10mm pistols are difficult to shoot fast, and magazine capacity drops sharply compared to 9mm. Training costs are steep, and truly compact 10mm options are limited. This is a caliber with power, but you feel every bit of it. .357 Magnum. A long-revered revolver round, .357 Magnum earned its reputation with raw velocity and deep penetration. When paired with the right loads, it produces reliable expansion across a wide range of bullets, from snub-nosed revolvers to lever-action carbines. It has decades of proven use behind it, but recoil is severe, especially in short-barreled revolvers. Most wheel guns chambered in .357 hold only 5 or 6 rounds, and reloading under stress takes time and practice. Full power loads are also expensive, and modern concealed carry designs have largely moved away from Magnum-class power in favor of higher capacity and lower recoil. 5.7 by 28mm. Designed for armor penetration and low recoil, the 5.7 by 28mm offers an incredibly flat trajectory and high magazine capacity, usually 20 rounds or more. In the right hands, it's fast, surgical, and nearly recoil-free. Some specialized defensive loads show strong performance against soft body armor, but the round itself is narrow and light, meaning smaller wound channels and soft tissue. Defensive-oriented 5.7 ammo is expensive and not always available. While it may be a good choice in specific tactical setups, it's less proven in typical civilian defense scenarios, especially when measured against FBI jail protocols. .380 ACP. Often chosen for compact and lightweight pistols, .380 ACP is known for its manageable recoil and small platform compatibility. It's easy to carry, easy to shoot, and far more controllable for recoil-sensitive shooters. With modern defensive ammo, it can meet FBI minimum penetration in some cases, especially with bonded rounds. But even with premium loads, its overall power is limited. Barrier penetration is weak, and expansion is often inconsistent. For many, it's seen as the minimum viable caliber, a backup option rather than a primary. .22 Long Rifle. Minimal recoil, dirt cheap, found everywhere. The .22 Long Rifle is the most accessible round in America, and it works in everything from revolvers to rifles. For beginners or those training on a budget, it's unmatched. It's also accurate, quiet, and lethal on small game, but in human defensive use, it falls short. Rimfire ignition is less reliable than centerfire, and ballistic performance varies wildly by brand and barrel length. Expansion is poor, and penetration often fails to meet FBI standards. Still, it remains the most used and most deadly round in American gun violence, due mostly to its availability and underestimation. But to understand why these rounds perform the way they do, you have to look deeper into the science behind their design and the secrets built into every modern hollow point. The reason caliber doesn't matter as much anymore comes down to one thing: modern bullet design. Over the past 25 years, ammunition has evolved dramatically, and it's the bullet, not the caliber, that now does most of the work. Start with the hollow point. The earliest hollow points were crude, just a simple hole in the nose of a bullet. Sometimes they expanded, sometimes they didn't. The design was unreliable and easy to clog with clothing, drywall, or anything in between. But today's premium hollow points are engineered for reliability. They feature bonded jackets, polymer tips, pre-scored pedals, and controlled expansion chambers that help them perform across a wide range of speeds and conditions. These aren't just bullets anymore. They're mechanical tools built to deform exactly how they need to, when they need to. The biggest leap forward? Barrier-blind performance. The FBI's modern testing protocols involve more than bare gel. They include heavy clothing, sheet metal, wallboard, auto glass, and plywood. Older bullets failed most of these tests. They'd clog, fragment, veer off course, or lose energy. But the new generation of defensive rounds is built to overcome those obstacles, expanding consistently even after punching through denim or glass. These advances are why 9mm returned as the FBI standard. With older ammo, it underperformed. With modern barrier-blind rounds, it hits all the benchmarks and does so with higher capacity and lower recoil. These bullets hold together after impact. They don't break apart or collapse. That's what makes them reliable across platforms and distances, whether fired from a full-size duty pistol or a compact carry gun. Today's top-tier hollow points behave predictably. That kind of consistency is a life-saving difference when the pressure's on. But ironically, the caliber that benefits the least from modern design is also the one that's responsible for most deaths. And yet, none of these high-tech marvels come close to the round responsible for the most casualties in America, and it's not even designed for defense. It's not the biggest, it does not deliver massive recoil. It does not fire from duty pistols or battle rifles. But when it comes to raw numbers, this round has taken more lives in America than any other. We're talking about the .22 long rifle. It was never designed to be a defensive cartridge. Introduced in 1887, it became popular for plinking, target shooting, and small game hunting. It's extremely cheap, easy to find, and works in everything from bolt-action rifles to pocket pistols. You'll find it in barns, toolboxes, tackle boxes, and kitchen drawers. It is the round more Americans have fired than any other. And because of that, it shows up in more shootings than any other caliber. This has nothing to do with ballistic excellence. It has everything to do with access and availability. People who do not own typical defensive firearms often still have a .22. In domestic incidents, unplanned altercations, and even targeted killings, it is often the gun that was easiest to grab. That is what makes it deadly. Not energy, not expansion, just presence. The danger gets worse when people underestimate it. Shooters think it is harmless. Victims do not react quickly. But trauma surgeons will tell you that a .22 at close range can rattle around inside the body, bouncing off bone, damaging multiple organs, and causing lethal complications. It may not punch through hard barriers, but inside soft tissue, it can behave unpredictably. Earlier, we mentioned that most handgun threats stop due to psychological shock, not physical collapse. This is where the .22 often succeeds. The attacker is surprised, the pain is real, the reaction is mental, and even though this round lacks deep penetration or reliable expansion, still ends more confrontations than it should. It is not about glorifying the round. It is about recognizing the truth. Lethality does not always follow the biggest flash or loudest bang. Sometimes it comes from the bullet nobody took seriously until it was too late. Check out our next video where we will reveal the deadliest .22 long rifle rounds available in America today.